Nation, Jerry just informed me 108,000 people showing up after a tough loss a week ago. So, you know, I can't speak for everybody, but what drives me and drives a lot of our players and our coaching staff is not want to let Buckeye Nation down. So, from our heart, thank you for your support again. And you know, it was a beautiful day in Horseshoe against a good football team. A team that you know, just had a nice talk with our players. You know, my father was in the Army, my sister's in the Air Force. Spent many times against Air Force Academy, played Navy several times, never been to Annapolis yet, I will. And then I took my son to West Point, and we stayed in General Blake's house. They were great, you know, gracious, took us to the firing range and just saw some of the coolest things I've ever seen. And it's been a bucket list of mine to go do that. It's easy to, you know, to put your head on the pillow at night knowing that men and women that represent our country. It's awesome, and so it just was a great experience to play them. It was a pain in the rear end. Now they had an 18-play, 99-yard drive, and they just wear you out. It was 14-7, and our defense coach Shannon and the defensive staff did a great job. And obviously the players, Tuck Warren came in and did a heck of a job. And then finally, just a thought on JT is I've known about the Big Ten Conference for probably 40-some years, and of all the great players that have ever played here, to say you're the #1 touchdown maker in the history of the Big Ten Conference, that's awesome. And that's something that's going to be hard on the break because he's got a lot of games left. So much credit to him, and appreciate him. So I'll answer your questions for you.
Front row right, Bill.
Urban, can you describe how difficult this last week was for you, and how much of a necessity having a game like this was psychologically?
Yeah, losing's awful, and it was the typical. It's not the first time. I hope it's the last time. But, you know, sometimes some things happen. You work really hard not to allow it to happen, and you go through the discomfort of being crushed to extremely angry. And self-reflection, what could you have done better? And then you have to somehow pull yourself off the canvas and get going. And how do you do that? You do that through your faith, your family, your friends, and your teammates. And that's why a lot of us have very narrow circles, in my, just what I mentioned, and most importantly, our players. So they did a good job. A guy like Billy Price is a strong guy, and he picks us right out off the canvas, and let's go. So.
Second row wide left, Tony.
Urban, you Tough Borland came in. Was that a performance issue on Chris Worley's part?
No, he has a little sprained foot, and Tough played fantastic.
Do you think that's a position that becomes a competition more so now?
Well, I mean, it's, you know, Worley's a leader, but you know, anybody that plays well gets an opportunity.
Front row right, Austin.
Urban, this wasn't the first time this week that JT's had some adversity or had people question him. He's always seemed to bounce back traditionally throughout his career. What is it about him that allows him to make those plays, make those games come back? And did you have any conversations, notice anything different with him throughout this week?
Well, the heart of a lion, you know, it's a heart this big, and the toughness is one of the toughest players I've ever been around. So that's pretty good characteristics to have with a guy touching the ball every snap.
Back row left, Ari.
Urban, JT was 1 touchdown away from that record. How aware are you during games about how close a player is to breaking a record like that? And do you think about that? Do you keep him in longer? And, you know, just how? No,
I wasn't aware of that one until I saw it pop up on the screen. Sometimes you will, like, you know, not very often, though, like someone say, I remember Zeke or something, and he needs 5 more yards to. And then you start going through your mind, you know, you don't embarrass your opponent, you don't want to get a guy hurt. So that didn't happen this week, but it's happened before.
And front row right, Tim.
Urban, J.K. Dobbins, obviously, his first 2 carries in the second half, 22 and 52 yards, get you guys some breathing room there. Just what did you see there? What have you seen of him just taking the bit here, his first 3 games as a freshman?
Well, we saw it against Indiana. You know, unfortunately, we didn't get him in space. He's a perfect tailback. You know, he's a space player that we need. And it's a shame Paris had the one called back because that was a lightning bolt too. So we got we're getting some breakaways developed. You know, we tried to shoot it down the field a couple times. They're playing just such soft coverage; it was hard to get behind them. But J.K. and Paris, I thought, you know, they're 2 of our best playmakers right now.
And were y'all determined to hammer inside as much as anything else today? Y'all did the wide
No, you
stuff?
do, we had a lot of outside plays
Yeah.
too. Those plays that hit were outside plays. And then, like Kevin Wilson and Ryan Day did a nice job mixing and matching. It's all how you play, how they're playing. If they're starting to pack it in there, you get outside. And I thought the RPOs were very good. That's the run pass options where a lot of the time you see JT pull the ball and then kick it out there and get really push yard. We're going to keep growing.
Front row left.
Coach Meyer, in the first quarter, JT still tended to overthrow the ball to players like Mack and McLaurin. Do you think him tying the record with Drew Brees made up for that, compensated for his overthrowing the ball at times?
He misfires. He was 25 of 33, and I was hoping he'd be 33 for 33, I guess, but sometimes you misfire a little bit. But I saw what you saw. He had a couple misfires early.
Front row right over here, Clay.
How helpful to get Haskins in the game, and now will you kind of start to bring him along a little bit?
I hope so. I thought he performed well when he was in there. It was 4 for 4, and I wanted to throw more, but you just didn't want to something silly. So I thought he did very well when he got in there. That's his first chance.
Special arm, really.
Pretty quick release too.
And final two questions, far left, Doug.
Urban, I know obviously you guys did a good job on some of those perimeter throws and spacing that a little bit, but sometimes it looks like if you just hand it to the tailback every play, you guys could have put up 60 if you wanted to. Do you have
Just that easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, hey, but it's more than that.
First of all, it's much more than that.
No, I know. But you did give it to JK the first two times in the second half, and you went
Just
2 yards, 74-yard drive. But
just give it to him every time.
yeah. Do you know, and I asked you this during the week, but do you still have, you need to throw, right? I mean, even if you think you could run every time, and I know it's not that
You
easy,
can't run every
but
time.
you have to be balanced, you have
Yeah,
to.
the reason it runs, just to help you a little bit with it, not that I'm an expert, because I've done this for a long time. Just to clarify a few things, what makes the inside run game open up is when you start hitting all those bubble screens and a lot of the horizontal pass plays too, or eventually just getting it tighter and tighter. So you have to be very balanced. And I think we were very balanced today. If I remember right, like 300, 300.
What is
Yeah,
that?
316 passing and 300 or 280, 270 rushing. So that's about what we need to be. But you do have to, in the big games, you have to be balanced because they can stop you
But you're pretty happy with that balance, that's how you would like it to look.
every game.
And final questions over here to the right, Steve.
Coach Schiano was down on the field today. What did you see in terms of doing that? Was that because of what Army does and you expect him to go?
Combination of both. He's an energy guy. He provides a lot of energy. He's knows, he's coached against this offense for many, many years. I wanted to sound like for energy and to make adjustments. And we'll reevaluate for if he's going to stay down.
Did somebody go up in his place?
Coach Davis.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.